Yes, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Cardiff City World. I am Si. Let's move this camera straight away because that is all sorts of wrong. Let's turn this horrible music off. But I'm Si. Welcome to Cardiff City World. Welcome to Friday night. Welcome to your Cardiff City versus QPR preview. It's going to be a stressful weekend. It's going to be a painful weekend. It's going to be an up and down and up and down and up and down. There's no doubt about it. It is just the way it's going to be for the remaining games. So we're going to talk about it. It's going to be fun. We're going to enjoy it. Try to. If you're not familiar with the preview shows, they're a little bit shorter to the normal shows where we basically will have a look at the opponents, some of their dangerous players, and then we'll go through some Cardiff things, some Cardiff options, what we think Cardiff might do. I think that Cardiff are going to go three at the back, but I'll get into that in a minute. It's going to be really, really, really such a nerve-wracking weekend. I did a QPR preview earlier for Hoopsla, which was, check that out. I retweeted it and stuff earlier. Just a short 10-minute one. But yeah, we're just talking about they've got a lot of injury problems, have QPR, so it's going to be a big issue. I'm looking down here to try and find my charger, but I can't see it. The cats have nicked it. So, yes, let's start. It's literally a couple of points separate us. And this is why it's not just important for Cardiff City to get 3 points for themselves, but if we can get 3 points tomorrow, it drags QPR right into the mix. And I think that's almost as important as the 3 points. Cardiff versus QPR, Cardiff versus Preston. Cardiff need 4 points at least from that. I think it's 6 gettable points. But I'm kind of looking at it and I'm like, right, the manager wants to play a certain way. He says he wants to play a certain way. He did play a certain way in the first half against Sheffield Wednesday. That is an indication that's what he wants to do. He wants to play with youth. He wants to play with pace. But he's got to get the subs right. He's got to get the tactics right. And for a whole game, it's got to be a whole 90-minute performance from Cardiff City. And unfortunately, I don't think if you go back through the season, there's only one 90-minute performance that I can think of, and that's Plymouth. And I think we were heavily benefited by the fact that we were a couple of goals up and then they had a player sent off right on half-time. So it's one of those where, yes, you know, it was a great result, good performance, etc. But we also had a bit of fortune, you know? So it kind of is what it is. Cardiff have not been able to put a 90-minute performance in all season. They, you know, good first half, good second half maybe, but very generally speaking, it's been very poor. That's why we're in the position we are. And whether you're like me, who think the squad is nowhere near a team which should be in the bottom 3, and I'm kind of puzzled by it in some ways that we got this much quality, but somehow we're in the bottom 3, or whether you're someone who, you know, some people think the Cardiff City squad's rubbish and they were always going to be in a relegation battle. I don't think that is the case. I think if we'd had a good manager from day one, who'd had a good pre-season and been through the season and stuff, I think he gets the best out of this squad, and it's easily a top 10 squad. There's simply too much attacking talent within the group and below to do that. But we are where we are. We are in a battle. QPR have a lot of injuries. Last week, they couldn't even field a striker in their squad. Elias Chair is still out. Sato, who's real good, is out. Sam Field, Jake Clark-Salter, Raylan Coley looks like he's going to be back. He's a real good player on loan from Chelsea. And also, was the other one he said about Colback? There's a couple of players in there, but they've got so much injuries. Cardiff City simply must capitalise. Now, one of Cardiff's biggest issues has been defensive mistakes, and Perry NG is out, and Rita Moto is probably touch and go to play. You certainly wouldn't hold it against him if he didn't feel mentally ready to play after the horrific circumstances and the horrific stuff that's happened to him this week and his family. Best wishes to him and his family. It's simply awful. So you could kind of fully understand if he's not available, which makes me think Cardiff might go to a 3. But that tactically could also work out for them if they do what I think they might. But let's talk QPR first and foremost. They have so many injuries. They're fairly limited in what they can select. So that'll be interesting. They are in a horrific form. Really, like they not long ago, they were 15 points clear of the relegation zone. If they lose tomorrow to us, they are banging it. But equally, a win could ease the pressure a little bit for them as well. Cardiff, as I say, they simply must capitalise on QPR's injury and form. There's no excuses now. You cannot have the excuses of unlucky or bad refs or even tactical mistakes from the manager. It has to be on point and they have to get it done. 3 points is the only thing acceptable. Preston's going to be a real difficult game. So tomorrow has to be the one to kickstart this 6 or 7 game period. And ultimately, in my opinion, it's not an 8-7 game thing. It's the next 4 or 5 is going to make or break us. Because if we go into the last couple of games needing 6 points, we are going to be in big trouble. Oxford are on the slide. They are just 2 points ahead of us. Hull, 1 point ahead of us. Derby, 4 from 4. Fair play to them. QPR are 15th, but they're on 45 points. We win tomorrow. We are within 2 points of them. Swansea have got a difficult game. And also QPR play Oxford as well. The problem I've got, and Gavin's kind of alluded to it there, every time Cardiff have played a team over the last couple of seasons and they come to us in a horrific form or a long run where they haven't scored or they haven't won or whatever it may be, Cardiff's the team where they play and get that result back. That's my concern. QPR were sitting pretty comfortable away from the relegation zone. And at one point, I think they probably were even had half an eye on a late run for the playoffs. Most recently, lost 3-1 to Stoke. Before that, drew with Leeds 2-2, lost to Middlesbrough, lost to West Brom, lost to Sheffield United. And you've got to say all those teams are very, very difficult teams to play against. And if you go into a run of Sheffield United, West Brom, Middlesbrough, Leeds, and Stoke, I don't think it's a massive shock if you don't take many points from that. They took 1 from the 5 games. So it's going to be difficult. Obviously, against Stoke, they had a severe lack of strikers. But they do have a couple of players who are real nice. Yang, who scored against Stoke, is a player that I really like. And Raylan Coley is another one. 2 young players, very, very good, are both on loan. One from Spurs, one from Chelsea. They will line up in a 4-2-3-1. I think Nardi will be in goal. I think most of it picks itself due to their injuries. It'll be Paul, Fox, Edwards Dunn as a back 4, Varane and Colback as the double pivot. They do need to make sure they don't let Jack Colback start to dictate the game a little bit. He's not he's not on Barry Bannon's level, but he is someone who can take control of a game, and he is someone who makes so he'll take control of a game in a different way. He will take control of the game by getting on the ball, carrying it, or a pass and run onto it and break the lines with his run for the return ball, as opposed to Barry Bannon will, carry it, play a little ball through, break the lines with his passing. Then I think they go. I think it'll be Yang, Morgan, Anderson, and then Cole. I think Coley might play up front, or maybe Yang. One of the two will play up top They could go with Dembele again, but he kind of struggled a little bit up top against Stoke. So for me, the danger man for QPR is probably Raylan Coley. On his day, he is inconsistent because he's young, on loan from Chelsea. Technical ability for days, pacey, skillful, can do damage to Cardiff. If we switch off him and Yang, Anderson, they can cause us damage, and Cardiff must cut out those defensive mistakes. Will Fish and Bagan, I thought, were both really good against Sheffield Wednesday, but they switched off once, and it's a goal. It costs us 3 points. So it doesn't matter how good you play for most of the game. It has to be a 90-minute performance. It has to be all the way through. In terms of Cardiff, look, no matter how much I say or other people say how good we think the squad is, ultimately it comes down to this. The squad hasn't been good enough throughout the season. The manager says he's confident that we'll stay up. I have gone from being very confident to now, you can't ignore it. It'd be madness to ignore it. I do still think we'll stay up by the skin of our teeth, but more because I think there's other teams who were on the slide. Oxford, even QPR looking trouble. There's a few others which I think we can get above, but we have to win. If we lose two now, like if we lose to QPR and Preston, I think we go down. We've got to take at least 4 points from these two, in my opinion. Got to. I think Preston's are going to be a real difficult game, and we haven't got the best record at either place. In all honesty, it's not a place that I remember going to and getting a lot of points. So it is what it is. I know we beat QPR 1-0 last season, was it? But at some point, Cardiff have to go on a run, Paul. You're right there. And this is my point. You look at the attacking talent that Cardiff have, and you are puzzled by, how we are where we are. Like, I think if you ask most people, most Cardiff fans, since Christmas, who's been one of our better players? Joe Bagan and Will Fish have been pretty good, pretty consistent. O'Dowda's been consistent all season. Perry NG has looked better since Christmas than he has for probably 18 months. So where's the disconnect? Because individually, not too bad at the back, but it's the mistakes. Start of the season, it was Perry NG. Rhys made a couple where he looked a bit mentally tired. Fish switched off against Sheffield Wednesday. The only one, Bagan had that one mistake a couple of weeks back and then got dropped immediately, and even though it was probably his only mistake all season. O'Dowda can get caught because he's a winger playing at left back. I think Cardiff, because of the right back issues, Rhys, he might. If Rhys plays, they probably play forward or back. But I got a feeling, it's impossible to judge with him. So let's assume he's not going to play. I think we see Fish, Bagan, and I think we'll see Chambers as the third in the three. Fish, Bagan, Chambers as a three. Then I think you go O'Dowda left wing back, and then I think in the middle of the park you go Manswerk, and I think the manager will go with Turnbull, though I would heavily consider what's his face? Alex Robertson. But it's got to be so. As Gavin says there, I say about round pegs, round holes. The reason I think that they'll play three at the back is because we haven't got a right back, unless they play Callum Chambers there, which I don't think you get the best out of Callum Chambers at right back. I think in a three at the back, I think you can get the best out of him. I think in a three with the wing backs, you get more out of Callum O'Dowda. So I think the manager will go Manswerk and Turnbull, but I think I would go Manswerk and Alex Robertson, assuming that Robertson's fit. And then I would go Salic with Isaac Davis as a two with Ruben behind. So I would go, instead of two and behind the striker, I would go with two up front and Ruben Colwell behind the two. So Isaac Davis and Salic up top. I would go Ruben in the 10 in front of Robertson and Manswerk. And right wing back, we are pretty out of options. So I'm going to go with someone who works really hard, got the pace, got the mentality to work hard for the team. Anwar El Ghazi will be my right wing back. No, I would probably, looking at the options we've got, I'd probably go with Keane Ashford at right wing back, assuming he goes with 3 at the back. I only think he's going to go 3 at the back because of the injuries. He does like that system away from home as well. Keane Ashford will go up and down, same as O'Dowda. He will put the shift in and he will get his head down and he will work. I think Will Alves is a good option off the bench. I think Ruben and Alex Robertson could do with a go. But if we go 4 at the back, let's say we got a solution for 4 at the back. Let's say Chambers plays right back, just for argument's sake. Then I think there's an argument to keep the same 11 more or less, or same front line. You go Chambers right back, Fish and Bagan, O'Dowda, then your 2 Manswerk and Chambers, and then you have Alves, Ashford, and Isaac Davis. So I would change it. I would drop Alves to the bench away from home, and I'd push Keane out wide, because then you've got Keane and Isaac Davis, 2 hard-working wide players who are both banging form. So they'll give you the attacking prowess as well. Stalic up top. Who'd you put in the 10? And I guess that is what it'll come down to. If I'm being honest, I think the manager will put Turnbull in there. It wouldn't be my choice. I prefer Turnbull as an 8. I would put either Ruben, or I'd probably put Alex Robertson in there in a 4-2-3-1. Round pegs, round holes, pace in the wide areas, and pace around Salic, because we're going to do some stuff on the break against QPR. My feeling is that if we can get at QPR and get an early goal, they have it in them to fall apart at the moment because their form is so bad. I could also see an absolute argument for the same 11 that started versus Sheffield Wednesday, because I thought that was excellent. You've obviously got to find the right back for that. My only concern with that is when I look at the bench, I thought what we lacked, or what we brought off the bench last week made us worse. El Ghazi slowed us down, gave the ball away. The only one who didn't was Turnbull, was pretty good. Tanner looked way off fitness. If Tanner was fit, I'd be more comfortable leaving Alves to start. If Tanner is still where he was last week in terms of his fitness, I'm probably going to shift Keane wide, bring Alves out, and put probably Alex Robertson in the 10, or, Robertson, Turnbull, Ruben. I would be happy with all 3. We got to be good on the break, and I think you need someone in that 10 who's got quick feet. Yeah, Will Fish has played right back before. I just think he's been pretty good in the middle. Martin says he'd play. I think Fish could play right back with Gutas and Bagan in the middle. He's definitely an option, mate. I'm not a fan, mate. I think Gutas's head is not in it anymore, and that's no disrespect to him whatsoever. And that's nothing to do with his form and stuff, which wasn't great, or he looked like he had a mistake in him. I just think he's leaving in the summer, and I think his head's probably not in it. But that's just a personal opinion. Dylan Lawler, could he come in? Right back. Conte, Conte. How good was Raheem Conte at right back last year at the end of the season? What a weird season he's had. Because he looked like the one. He looked a lot like the one. So I'm interested. I mean, they could, Louis Giles. I don't think I'm not a fan of left footers at right back. Got to be honest. Fish or Chambers seem the obvious ones, don't they? Like someone just said there. Gavin says, I think Rita Motor's play. I lean more towards he'll play, but it's impossible to say, mate. Impossible to say. Grief is such a unpredictable thing. Who knows where his head's at, and who can blame him? Like if he's not right to play, like anyone who criticizes him is an absolute bell. Let's be honest. As much as Cardiff City's relegation battle is the most important thing in the world to me, you know, family first always, and he's lost someone very close to him. Is Conte? I thought Conte was just not registered for one of the cups. I thought he was registered with the league. I might be wrong with that though. It's going to be fascinating to see. I'm just looking to see if there's any other right back options. I don't want to see Tanner there. Jesper Darland could come in. Heard he's being quite sharp in training. Could you move Fish or change? I think if it was me, I'd prefer to keep Fish and Bagan together. So I'd probably go with Chambers. I think Chambers has played right back before. He's experienced. He knows the role. He knows the job. He's good on the ball. He's good in the tackle and duels. Martin says he's been playing left wing back. Conte has for the 21s. Spears was man of the match for the 21s at right wing back midweek. So I said this before. If we play a wing back system, 3 at the back with wing backs, I'm all about putting the youngsters in. So whether it's Spears, Conte, Giles, I'm happy for them to play. And I'll tell you one thing, right, while we're on it. If you give me the option of playing experienced, like I say, and this is not a personal thing against Callum Robinson, I'm just using him as an example. But if you give me an option of playing Callum Robinson in the 10 or the left, or playing Isaac Davis or Kean Ashford, whether it's up front or in a 10 or on the right, I am absolutely playing Ashford, Davis, Ruben, Giles, I want those, because those boys are Cardiff City fans and they will die for that shirt before they give up a result. And I'm not sure that some of the lads within that squad really care. There's too many of them out of contract. There's too many of them at the heads turn. They're on the beach already. Maybe some of them have signed pre-contracts elsewhere. The youngsters, they care. So if they are good enough, then play them. Paul says you've got to put your strongest option at right back. Who is the strongest option, though, mate? Like, if you assume Callum Chambers is his first name on the team sheet and midfield, which it seems to be, rarely takes him off, always starts when he's available. It's either Fish, which I think weakens the centre backs, or you go young with Spears, Dylan Lawler, Conte, or like I said, I think it changes slightly if they go with 3 at the back. And if we go 3 at the back and play wing backs, I am absolutely okay with Kean Ashford fulfilling the right wing back role. He's good going forward. He will do the work going back. He will follow instructions and he will fight for the shirt. But as Martin pointed out, Spears was man of the match for the under-21s at right wing back. What's the point in having an academy if when you've got a load of injuries, you don't use the academy and utilize the players you've got? Round pegs, round holes. Oh, we got a right wing back. We're playing 3 at the back. He's man of the match on Wednesday or whatever it was. Let's give him a go. What's the worst that can happen? And I'm sure Ollie Tanner would be considered for a right wing back role as well, but I think he's one for left wing back after last week, should we say? But maybe he was just off fitness. So there's a couple of options for you. I wouldn't be shocked to see a pretty much similar starting 11, although I think, the likes of Colwell and Alex Robertson, maybe Darland could be included in that as well. They've got to be asking questions of why they're not getting more game time. I thought Omar Rhys got the subs badly wrong last week, and I'll be working or looking to see the same thing, or see the same kind of intensity in the first half, but I want to see adjustments in the substitutions to make sure he gets it right. Don't kill the pace we've got, or whatever area we're doing well in. Don't kill that. Chris Willock is back in the squad. This is a game Chris Willock will be bang up for. So if ever there was a game to take a little bit of a risk on someone, Willock in this game is probably it, because he got a lot of abuse when he left QPR. He played his best football there. he will be desperate to play and to score against them. So maybe he's an option somewhere in there as well, depending on the system, etc. Matthew says same 11 for me. We can't play the same 11 because Perry NG's injured. Keep up, mate. Come on. Paul says Darlin centre back with Gutas. Wow. You're getting rid of Fish and Bagan. Phil Jones says get Fish at right back and bring Dylan Lawler in. Don't mind that at all, mate. Me. I think if you bring Lawler in, though, I think playing Lawler and Bagan is a risk. If you play Lawler, I think you have to play Gutas. If I'm honest, I think you've got to have someone experienced, or you drop Chambers in there. Like, you've got to have someone experienced. I'm only playing with you, Matt. We've got so many options, and this is the thing. Like, this is why it frustrates me where we are in the league, because we've got so many options. It's unbelievable. Like, El Ghazi killed us last week, and unfortunately, Ollie Tanner quite similar on the other side. There was no need. Like, Alves was fading. I understand that. Just push Kean Ashford out to the left and put Ruben or Alex Robertson on after the hour mark. Made so much, and that not only keeps the pace out wide, but it also would have counteracted Shea Charles, who was excellent in the second half of Sheffield Wednesday. But Shea Charles coming on freed up Barry Bannon. So putting Ruben or Robertson on him would have been the solution there. And it is frustrating because we can see it, but why can't the other people, who were making the decisions? So it's going to be fascinating what he goes with. I've got a feeling if Rinamoto's not available, we're going to go 3 at the back. That's just a guess. It's not based on anything, purely guesswork. But I would love to see young Spears be the right wing back as a reward for his recent form at right wing back, because I'm all about round pegs and round holes, Gavin. It is harsh. It's difficult for the kids. And when I say kids, I mean kids. Like, I don't even know Kean Ashford and Isaac Davis, and they're young. I don't count them as kids because they're established first team players. When I say kids, I mean Lawler, Louis Giles, Spires. They're all like very they're under 21s at the end of the day. I'd like to see round pegs, round holes. I would love to see us just go. Right, I got you, Paul. So Paul said Darlin and Gutas as the centre backs, Fish at right back, Bagan at left back. I mean, one thing I'll give you with that back four, mate, is there's a lot of good headers in there. So you shouldn't have any ball watching. Shouldn't. But then, mate, my problem with that is, like, then you push O'Dowda up to the left wing. And I will be so disappointed if Isaac Davis is on the bench tomorrow. For me, no matter what system we play, whether we play 4-4-2, 3-5-2, 3-4-2-1, 3-4-1-2, 4-2-3-1, 4-3-3, Isaac Davis absolutely starts. Whether he starts on the wide right, whether he starts wide left, whether he starts up front with Salic, Isaac Davis starts. Work rate, quality, form, attitude, and he's got a bit of fight about him, and he's a Cardiff fan. Isaac Davis 100% starts. And if he doesn't, I'll be really asking questions. I think it's vital he gets the starting 11 right. He did last week. He's got 1 enforced change. I don't think he changes the double pivot away from home. So I think Manswick, Chambers, unless forced, where Chambers goes to right back, is who you put in the 10. Who gives you enough going forward whilst also doing a job on the likes of Jack Colback and Varane to keep them quiet. Tricky, innit? Tricky. Our best midfield all season in terms of form and results was Turnbull, Robertson and Ruben. All 3 are available. I know for a fact that there's a question within the selection people that midfield hasn't got enough fight for the type of battle that we're in. Do I agree? Sort of. I don't think it's I don't think it's the fight from a mentality point of view with those 3. I think they haven't got the physicality that we need. whilst Turnbull and Robertson and Ruben will get stuck in and do their jobs and press and tackle, but I just don't think they've got the physicality that a Chambers and a Manswerk have got. If it was a home game, I'd be saying only play one of Chambers or Manswerk in that pivot, and I'd be saying drop Turnbull or Robertson in there. If they're both playing in midfield for this game, Chambers and Manswerk have got to start. They've got to be the double pivot, protect your defence away from home. And then it just comes down to whether it's a 3 or a 4. I do fancy us tomorrow. And it's like weird, isn't it? Because there's no basis for it. We have won 5 games all season? Or 5 games under Rhys or whatever it is. We've dropped shitload of points. There's no rhyme or reason. I just fancy us tomorrow. QPR have been poor. And I thought the first half last week against Sheffield Wednesday was so good. I thought it was so good. That first half performance is the blueprint of how Omar Rhys wants to play football. High press, time to the right, time to perfection, in numbers, in the right areas of the pitch. When you get the ball in the transition, you move it quickly to pacey players. Build up from the back, not long ball, but pretty direct, moving it quickly through the thirds and through the phases and trying to get in behind and in the channels to utilize the fact that you've got 3 pacey players and skillful players around a good striker whose link-up play is good. One of the things that I think has been an issue for Omar Rhys is keeping everybody happy since he's come in, and I think he's rotated too much. So I think he should. This is the way I would look at it if I was him. I would say, right, my starting 11 was spot on. Can I go with the same starting 11 away from home? It would be my first question. So I think he can. Solid base, pace in the areas, in the wide areas. Are those wide players going to work back and become a 5 in midfield in Ashford and in Davis and Alves? Yes, they are. They both work really hard. Is Keane Ashford okay in the 10 away from home? Yeah, probably. I mean, probably, but I don't think he does as good a defensive job as some of the other lads. But I would argue that he presses a bit better. So it's like, they're the questions I'd be asking. So first and foremost, you're like, all right, okay, I want the same 11. Right. Well, Perry NG's out, so I've got a right back issue. So you've got to sort that out. Chambers, Fish, youngster, whoever. 3 at the back, whatever the solution is. Then you're looking at your bench. You've got Matty, you've got Robinson, you've got Darland. I think El Ghazi's not travelling. You've got Gutas, Robertson, Tanner, Turnbull, Ruben. So I'm looking at that. There's not a lot of pace on there to come in and change a game against tired defenders. If it was me, I would move Alves to the bench. I'd knock Keane out to the left, and I'd bring in a different number 10 for this away from home. So I'd make 2 changes. I would drop Alves and obviously Perry NG's out. I would try and minimize the moving around to accommodate the right back. Problem is, you've probably got 2 choices. It's probably going to be Fish or Chambers. Do you move Chambers out and then you can put Turnbull or Robertson in there? Or do you move Fish out of the centre-back pairing and bring Gutas or Darland back in? It's a difficult one for him, but he's going to have to get it right. The pressure's on. There's no excuses. Cardiff have to be clinical in front of goal. They have to take their chances. You know, Salic has been excellent, I think, since January. But he's got to make sure he hits the target and takes his chances now. He's had a couple recently which have hit the post or just gone wide. We need them sneaking in. We got to be hitting the target. I'm very confident that he will. Same with the guys in and around the box, the wingers, you know, cutting in. They got to hit the target. They've got to make sure they make a good connection, hit the target, work keeper, follow in. Whoever's in the 10, yes, you got to do the pressing. You got to do the defensive work on the defensive midfielder. Got to create. And for the love of God, Can someone put Dye Turnbull on bloody set pieces, and can we get past the first man? Please. For Christ's sake. I've never seen a drop-off from one season to the next with effectively the same people taking the free kicks and set pieces. I've never seen a drop-off where we're one of the best teams in the league to the absolute worst. Let's have a look at some of the comments. Yeah, I think so. Paul said obviously Darlin, Gutas at centre back, Fish right back, Bagan left back. I really like Bagan at left back. As if you haven't seen my video on Bagan yesterday, please do check it out. A little 20-minute on his breakout season. But I will ask the question. So Rhys has made a point about it shows we don't plan properly for transfer windows. We just sign anyone who's available. There's no balance to the side, no cohesion. I think the January window was pretty good. What I will say, why I agree with that, is we have effectively got one right back. Perry NG is the only right back in the first team. But we're just lucky that Rinamoto has had a good season. But even he looked mentally tired. Matt thinks we'll go with the Bagan, Gutas, Fish, Bagan, Gutas, Darlin defense. It's a big defense, that is, like tall. Phil says we should not be in this position with the squad we have, but unfortunately, the start we had, we were always playing catch up. Yeah, look, you cannot start the season the way we did, with ending up with like 1 point and 1 goal when after 6 games, and then have the run up to Christmas and the Christmas period that we had. Those two things coexisting absolutely destroyed this season. And even then, when we're on a good run, we get dicked over by Leeds, and that could be like if we do not pick up a couple of wins in the next 4 or 5 games, that goal difference might be the difference between staying up and going down, which is even more sad. Matthew, there's a bit of positivity. Matthew says 3-1 win City. Paul says we beat them last year 2-1 at QPR. They've got more problems than us, so I'm going 2-0 City. They have got a whole host of injury issues. And as I said, they didn't even have a striker last week. He did say Rhys always surprised us with the lineups, but we've got to get goals and points. I would like to see, if I'm honest, I would like to see us go 3-5-2 with Isaac and I would like to see us go 3-5-2, Isaac and Salic up front, with O'Dowda and Ashford as the wing backs, and then a really solid base of the 3 defenders, say Chambers. Oh, actually, Gutas, Fish, and Bagan as a 3. Chambers and Manswerk. And then maybe a Ruben behind the 2 up front. I'd be quite happy with that team. It's quite attacking, but it's also solid. And I think Ashford does the work at right wing back. Rinamoto might play, so, there's always that. But I do think that him chopping and changing the side has been part of the problem. Well, we haven't been able to establish partnerships within the group. It's like different wingers playing with the fullbacks, different centre-backs all the time, different fullbacks all the time, different midfield all the time. You can't bring any cohesion to the game and the play because it's a different partner next to you every week or in front of you every week. Lee Chance says, Phil, we've had the whole season to catch up. That it was only 6 games at the start, and how many games? The manager to blame. He should have gone before the international break. To be honest with you, I felt if they were going to make a change, it should have come after the Oxford game. That was the period to make it, not this late into the season. But in fairness to Omar Risa, he survived 3 really where it just looked like they were going to change him just before Christmas. It looked like he was just the interim and they were going to just bring someone in. Survived that. Then he had that horrific run into Christmas and over Christmas up to the Oxford game. Looked like he was going to go there. Survived that. And then this most recent international break, there was pressure again. Survived that. So it is what it is now. Rhys says, I know people blame the start, but Bullet only had 6 games. Rhys will end the season having 40 games in charge. Annoyingly, I seen a stat we've not been higher than either 13th or 15th. Can't remember which. Yeah. So Matt says, I thought of Dada's delivery with last week with corners. It was just a mess in the penalty area. It looks like no one knows what they're doing. So what they tried to do last week was they tried to absolutely smash into the keeper. They had a really young keeper, Sheffield Wednesday, and it was clear that the plan was to crowd him and unsettle him. But my problem with it is as soon as the referee blows the whistle to stop the corner being taken because of pushing and shoving and the rest of it, the second he blows the whistle, it's going to be a free kick. So O'Dowd did put a couple of good balls in right on the keeper, but it was never going to happen. So for me, and I don't get why professional teams don't do this, the second the ref blows the whistle and says, stop pushing, blah, 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 when they're in the 6-yard box like that, the attacking team should all just come out to the edge of the box and run in because it's going to be a free kick every time before the ball even gets there. O'Dowd's delivery can be good. He also hit the first man, though, a couple of times, mate. So, yeah, whilst there was a couple of decent ones. Martin says, set piece drop off. He says, I think Rawls' absence is telling with corners. Last season we're on point. Yeah, Rawls has got a good set piece. If Turnbull's on the pitch, I don't understand why he's not taking the free kicks and corners. He took them at Celtic in the Champions League and did fine. So why is he not doing it for us? It's bizarre to me. Rhys says, we started the season with Chambers and Gutas as centre-backs, signed Fish and Darlin, didn't sign a striker until the very end. With Kanga, there's no proper planning. Well, I think the idea was Kanga was supposed to be the guy, wasn't he? Now, you can argue all day about whose decision that was and whether they did a good job, but that was the idea. And if you look at the rest of the signings in the summer, I thought the window was better, but not great. And then January, I think it's a good window. I think you can't expect much more than what we got in January, really. Rhys says 4-3-3, put Ruben in an 8, but allow him to go forward. Yeah, I don't mind that at all, mate. Don't mind that at all. I'd like to see Ruben in there. I think Ruben, Kean, Isaac Davis, Bagan, they'll fight for the badge till their last breath. And I think we need that. There's others in there who've got one foot on the beach, in my opinion. Alex says, I'd go Howverth, Fish, Darlin, Bagan, and O'Dowda. Mansverk and Chambers as the double pivot. And then Colwell in the 10 behind with Davis, Ashford, and Salic. Yeah, I quite like that, mate, as well, to be honest. Paul says, agree, Rhys. I think we should have got cover something in January window as cover for the right and left back. Do you know what? You just reminded me, Paul. Kepakio is back in training. I would have thought it would be a big gamble to put him straight in after such a serious injury. CJ says we've got a top quality championship side, but just haven't got the manager to make it work. We should not be in the position we are. I do agree we shouldn't be in the position we are. Jaden says play 2-2-2-2-2-2-2-2. Matthew says, sorry if it's already mentioned. Does anyone know anything about Sheffield Wednesday not paying players potential points deduction? If so, will that be this season? I haven't heard anything about that, mate. Do a bit of digging, though. Sure it wasn't an April Fool's leftover. Rhys says, annoying poor fans can see what's needed in the club, just oblivious to everything. It's the lack of football brains, mate. Said this all along. We need to stop taking short corners. Players need to move the throw-ins. We turn our back and walk away. We never want the ball. Players got to be brave, mate. Now, over these next 4 or 5 games, players got to be brave and get on the ball. And that's why I think I'd put Ruben in the 10 tomorrow. Because one thing you can say with him is he will never hide. He wants the ball, does good defensive work in terms of winning the ball back. And he will be brave and he will carry the ball and he will look to link up. And he's always good when he's got pace in front of him. Put Ashford and Davis on the wing. Ruben in the 10. I think that works nicely away from home. The club missed out on 2 or 3 strikers and the club panicked and signed Kanga. But goes back to my comment. We signed whoever was available rather than plan to sign balance. Loss of CO was huge. Yeah, I think so. But then, I don't know. Wasn't in the best form, was he? But you are right. He's good. Jonathan says Tanner's played wing back. Yeah, I think he would have been an option for me. I just thought he looked so unfit last week. But I thought he looked way off it. And I think he'd be, when he's played full back or wing back before, he's played off the left. I know he plays as a right winger, But I think, I don't know. I prefer him on the left anyway, mate. But it's an option, isn't it? CJ said, I don't think Rhys knows who to use in the squad. He's tried this, tried that, chopped and changed every week, not worked. We need a manager that can get consistency from a team. I do wonder if he doesn't know what his best 11 is, or is it because he's trying to keep everyone happy? Because let's be honest, if you were Alex Robertson and Ruben Colwell last week, you'd probably be pissed off. And mate, like 5 minutes, he's got to manage that. So I do think it's I wonder which one it is. Jaden says, I wonder when Simic will get a look in. I think the manager said not until we're safe, unless we have a load of injuries. I'd put him on the bench. What's the day? Like, especially with El Ghazi not traveling. What's the day? Like, put Simic on the bench. If you need a goal at the end, just chuck him on. He's in form. Strikers in form, score goals. You can't keep everyone happy, CD. You're right. You got to be strong as a manager and just pick what's best for the team. But for me, I'd have Simic on the bench, same as I would have had Reindorf on the bench when he was here, because you want as many attacking options as possible. Like, as a manager and a coach, for me, I want to have a keeper, and then I want to have 2 defenders who can cover the whole of the back 4, or full back or centre back. And then the rest of the substitutes, I want to be, you want one sort of maybe defensive-minded midfielder or a holder, or someone who plays as a DM but is more of a technical one. Maybe not like your traditional one, maybe like a Joe Rawls. But then outside that, I want attacking options. I want number 10s, I want wingers, I want strikers that I can go, right, I need a goal. Who am I going to go for? Who am I going to gamble with? Is what it is. CJ says you can't keep everyone happy. Paul says too big a risk. So I kept back. Yeah, he's not long back fitness wise, not ready, but we can hope for next season. Yeah, no, he just reminded me that he was back in training with the first team. I'd be shocked if they played him. I think there's a chance we're in a motor place, to be honest. But even then, is that the best option? Maybe against Preston, who've got quite a tall team, maybe a back 4 of Bagan, Darland, Gutas, and Fish is a good option. Have 4 like big boys in there. So I'd be as annoyed as I'd be that Isaac Davis doesn't start, because I think that would be gutless, if I'm honest. I'd also be disappointed if Bagan or Fish don't start. I think because they both did enough. Especially when certain other players never get dropped, just no matter how they play. Or not even how they play, because I don't think, for instance, Chambers, I don't think has played it bad, but sometimes tactically, I think he should have, I thought tactically it made more sense for him to come off than Manswerk last week. But managers have players they trust and they want to keep on the pitch. Rhys says, last summer we did a video about Ruben, how much we'd get for him when sold. I said 5 million and got laughed at. We go down, we'll be lucky to get 5 million apart from 4 or 5 games. He's not stood out for me. He was quite consistent, mate, at the start, sort of middle start of the season. But again, like, not really played, comes in, does well, doesn't play for a few weeks. And it's just other teams would build around him and Alex Robertson. And we've got them sat on the bench or not using them. And then we wonder why they're not performing when they get 5 minutes here and there. Shown against a Villa side, most recently, that if you give him time, he'll play, and he's a good player. Alex Robertson showed for game after game after game in the first half of the season that he's an excellent player. Barely got a look in since he came back from injury, which I think he rushed back, in fairness, because he didn't look fit. Jonathan says, Sheffield Wednesday haven't paid their players, haven't been paid. The owner took a payment and says the club owed him money. After that, there wasn't money to pay the players. Not sure of the possible punishment. No, that's interesting. Steve Thomas says, evening side, let's start the same team as Sheffield Wednesday last week. Agree about Turnbull taking set pieces if he's on. Steve, I have got no problem with that same 11 starting. Obviously, Perry NG's not there, so they'll have to change right back, and it depends who they put there. But I don't have an issue with it, really. I would like, away from home, I do think Robertson, Turnbull, Ruben in the midfield would be beneficial. They don't have to play a 3-2, 4-2-3-1, but don't have to play a number 10. You could play 4-3-3. 2 wide players, and then play Mansverk or Chambers with Mansverk and Ruben either side of him. And like Paul's just said there, Ruben's got a great engine on him. This myth that he's lazy does my head in. But people like a scapegoat. I agree. He hasn't. He's got so much more to give, and he should have done better at certain times. But like, what are you supposed to do with 5 minutes? You know. Jonathan says, we got to stop giving away cheap free kicks and attacking corners. Yeah, 100%. They got to stop switching off, I think is the term, isn't it? Guys, let's finish off with my man to watch for Cardiff tomorrow. I'm going to go with Yusuf Salic. I was going to go with Isaac, but I'm going to go with Yusuf Salic. Been a bit of a revelation since January. He's come very close to scoring in recent weeks without getting him in. Needs to hit the target tomorrow. But you know what? We need to put the ball in the box for him. Put the crosses in. Don't delay it. Get those crosses in. Yusuf Salic scores goals. I think Cardiff will win 2-1. I do think we're going to get 3 points tonight. The boys will be back tomorrow night with the 927 podcast, which will be the match reaction. I'll be back on Sunday for the breakdown. I have the Cardiff City phone in Monday. We got the series coming about the club and rebuilding the club. Got the thumbnails made and everything, and looking good. Just editing the first episode. All I will say, guys, is if you can become a member, please do. The memberships are literally what keeps this channel going and allows us to do 7 days a week Cardiff City content. You know, especially in the summer when there's less to talk about, we'll still be 7 days a week. We're still going to get behind the team. We're going to get behind the boys. And we'll still discuss everything Cardiff City, good or bad. Even if we put a few noses out of joint, we'll always do it. We'll always be honest in our opinions and our analysis. But obviously, you know, it's not all done for free at the end of the day. It costs money for us to run it all. So if you could become a member, then please do. If you can't, it's okay. Make sure you subscribe, click the bell, notifications, all that good stuff. If you want to become a member, please do. Just press join, or you can become a Patreon member at patreon.com/AcePodcastNation. Keep the faith, my friends. 7 games. I believe we'll be able to get enough by the skin of our teeth, but I don't know what I base it on because it's sure as shit ink form. Take it easy, my friends, and yeah, leave a comment on the video, all that good stuff. Spread the word, and I'll see you in the chat for the match reaction tomorrow. In a bit.